In this video, I'm going to be talking about my top lessons I've learned as an entrepreneur. So I've been in the YouTube game for a couple of years now. Literally over 100,000 students have enrolled in my online courses teaching sales, also really big into Web3 and crypto as well. And so over all these years of being an entrepreneur and trying different industries and trying to grow my company and hiring people, there are many lessons that I've learned. But in this video, I'm going to distill it to the top 4 lessons that I've learned that hopefully you guys can get a lot of value of to help you on your journey. Now, before we get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and a big shout out to AppSumo for helping make this video possible, but more on them later. Now, the first lesson that I want to share with you is this. Picking the right industry is half the battle. So what do I mean by that? Well, there are some industries that have a lot of money. There are some industries that don't have a lot of money. So even if you took the same entrepreneur, the person with the same skill set, and you apply them to different industries, their outcome is going to be totally different. I actually really thought about this from an Alex Hormozi video. So Alex Hormozi, if you don't know him, he's really big on YouTube, talking about business and things like that. But his claim to fame in the beginning was gym launch. So he would help people, start and launch their gyms and fill them up and generate revenue for them. And he said that other people who he felt wasn't as smart as him, nor were they as hardworking, were much more successful. And the reason was because they were just in different industries, right? So for example, if you are teaching people how to make money in real estate, that market is much bigger than people who want to start a private gym, right? So picking the right industry is going to be huge when it comes to your success. Like for me, for example, obviously I do the whole YouTube and the sales side, right? But when I actually took my sales ability and my content making ability and I applied it into the crypto side, and a lot of you guys may know that I am very deep into NFTs and crypto and things of that nature, it just worked out really, really well. And the market, especially during the bull run, was really big and the money was really fast, right? And so it's literally me having the same skill set of selling and creating content, applying it to a different industry, and my success there is just so much bigger than whatever I was doing on the sales side, right? So picking the industry that you want to be in is going to be probably one of the most important things, right? And it also will determine whether or not you like your job. Because if you're working in an industry where it's boring, it's not interesting, there's no money in it, what's the point of even going in that direction? Whereas if you choose something that's more exciting to you, something that is growing and something that has more money in it, then it's going to lead to a totally different outcome in your life. Now, the next tip I have for you is this. Investing in yourself leads to the highest ROI. Right? For a lot of you guys watching this, maybe you don't have a ton of assets and cash available right now, right? So people always say, it takes money to make money or whatever, right? But in actuality, especially in the beginning, the best ROI you can make is actually investing in your skill set, your education, and your ability and competency to get things done. So even at this stage of my life, being an entrepreneur for multiple years, right? I'm not saying I'm super successful, but I'm doing all right. I find that, after hiring different people, after investing in different softwares and whatever the case is, the best ROI typically is when I invest my time and money into acquiring skills. No matter where you're at, whether you're in the beginning or the later stages, this will still apply, right? So for example, for me, in the beginning, when I started doing YouTube, I had to learn how to sell, first of all, right? Which I learned at Oracle. Then I applied my skill set and learning new skills, which is to do content marketing and creating YouTube videos and teaching people like you guys how to sell with content. And then from there, I have to learn new skills on how to create an online course, how to make sure people are successful. And I just constantly have to learn new skills, and the list goes on. So if I want to improve everything I'm doing, the key thing is typically I have to develop my skill set in order to get to the next level. Now, at a certain point, I have to really think about what kind of skills I want to develop, right? Do I always want to be doing the groundwork? No, I need to learn how to become a better hirer and hire the right people that can do the job for the right price. At the end of the day, it's still me developing my skills, but I just have to be very mindful on what skills I develop. Now, taking it to you guys, you need to think, okay, if you are, someone that doesn't have a valuable skill quite yet, what skills can you learn? So if you're watching this, it's probably because you want to learn how to sell, which is a very valuable skill set. Learn that skill first, and then you keep leveraging that into the next opportunity, into the next one, and the next one, and the next one. But you always need to keep reinvesting into yourself, whether it's paying someone to teach you something, whether it's spending the time maybe to take an online course to learn a new skill. That is what's going to take you to the next level, because self-education is going to be the most important, right? You cannot rely always on other people teaching you things. You have to really think about what is it that you want to learn and think about what are the best ways to learn it. So many different ways to learn. Reading a book, right? Getting a glimpse on an expert's life, that's one option as well. So the education never stops, especially after school. You have to keep going. And actually, there's a really interesting tip that I've learned from Dan Martell, and I actually read his book called Buy Back Your Time, which I highly recommend. So he said that, it's all about buying back your time, because as an entrepreneur, you got this magic sauce to make things happen. The problem is that as your business gets bigger, you get more busy. So the key is you need to hire someone and show them how to do it so that your time is free to do something new. And then once you learn that new thing and you kind of get it down, you hire another person to do that thing, right? So you constantly keep doing new things and hiring people to replace you, and essentially you are buying back your time. But that whole philosophy implies that the entrepreneur has the juice, right? Meaning that they're the ones that have to keep learning new skill sets in order to find someone to replace them. So at the end of the day, even when you're hiring, you still have to learn something new every day. Now, I want to give a huge shout out for AppSumo for sponsoring this video. And today we're going to talk about one of the apps on AppSumo called LeadRock. Now, LeadRock is a reliable B2B content database with over 100 million records, emails, phone numbers. So these leads are going to be extremely high quality so that you can actually do some hyper focused targeting when you do any type of outreach, outbound campaign. It's just a few clicks away. So if you're a salesperson, if you're an entrepreneur, anybody that has to do any type of outbound prospecting, one of the biggest time wasters actually is just finding contacts, right? The average salesperson spends hours and hours looking for contacts, right? A lot of times they spend more time looking for the contacts than they actually do selling, right? And when I say selling, that's writing the emails, sending them, following up, and getting on the phone and actually selling your products and services. So to save time, having a database like LeadRock makes a lot of sense, right? Because you could put in things like what type of companies you want to reach out to, what's their revenue size, what's their location, and all these different filters so that you can get a highly targeted list. And then once you build that list, you can put it into whatever outbound email software you use in order to schedule those emails and reach out to your target audience. And so right now, if you go on AppSumo, LeadRock actually has a special discount where you can actually pay $79 for a lifetime access to LeadRock, right? That's pretty huge because over time, when more people are going to use LeadRock, they're going to have monthly subscriptions. But because they have the special deal with AppSumo for $79, that's going to be a steal for 100 million contacts on their database, right? So if you are interested in checking out LeadRock, there's a link in the description for you to go on the AppSumo site and check out this deal now. All right, next tip I have for you is this: focus on product. If you have an amazing product, you don't even have to be a good salesperson to sell it. People just want to buy it. If you have a terrible product, you have to be an excellent salesperson just to sell some junk, in which you don't even want to do anyways, right? So having the best product possible is going to be the best. Thinking back on my experience working in Silicon Valley, it was like this. The best salespeople, they got to work at the best companies like Google, Oracle, Facebook, all these companies, right? Which they have products that are easy to sell. Like if you're selling Facebook ads, there are already companies that are going to spend tens of millions of dollars on ads, and you just have to be that person to get them to sign the contract, right? It's like it almost sells itself, because where else are they going to go? Like Google, right? They're going to buy both. They have budget for both. People might say it's unfair because, an up and coming salesperson that doesn't have experience, how are they going to work at Google? Well, they're not, right? Because they're not good and they just haven't earned it yet. But while on the other side, if you're a good salesperson, you work at the best companies and you exponentially make more money than everybody else. The key here is that as a salesperson or entrepreneur, whatever the case is, you want to sell the best possible product. So if you're an entrepreneur, your job, or maybe your co-founder's job, is to create the best possible product for you to sell. If you are a salesperson, your job is to align yourself with the best product or service possible so that when you have to sell that thing for a commission, you actually have an easier time. The worst case is if you're a bad salesperson selling a bad product. That's typically why a lot of people quit sales, because their positioning is completely off. I would choose a great product any day. As an entrepreneur myself, I'm always thinking about how do we make the product better? How do we make it so good that we don't even need salespeople? It just sells itself, right? And so that's something I think everybody should think about, because you would rather spend a long time making a good product that sells itself than spend little time making a bad product and spend the rest of your life selling it. I actually got that from an Alex Hormozi video actually, and it's true. It's definitely true. Next tip I have for you is that you always want to have an abundance mentality. I think before, especially when I was starting out, it was always this feeling of hunger. It's always like you're acting out of desperation, right? Especially way in the beginning of my career where I'm just trying to pay my bills. It's like I'm just going check by check, and it's like you're just like a dog, man. You're just like working you're not really thinking, you're not balancing your life, you're thinking in a scarce mindset, and you're not really seeing the full picture. But as I've gotten older, started saving more money and things like that, I have more time to think. And what I've realized is that the world is very abundant. There's plenty of money out there. There's plenty of opportunity out there. You don't have to steal someone else's lunch in order to eat. You can find your own food, right? Having an abundance mentality really changed the way I kind of look at business, changed the way I look at friendships, changed the way I look at relationships. Because if you know that there's plenty of options out there, you don't act in desperation. When things aren't good in the negotiations, you're willing to walk away from a big deal because you know there's another one around the corner. Having that abundance mentality is something that, for me, gave me a lot of confidence in myself, knowing that if there's anything I don't want to do, I don't have to do it because there's plenty of options. I feel like a person's quality of life is determined or partly determined by the options that they have. People who are typically unhappy don't have much options, meaning that if they are not making enough money or they're not at the right company or whatever it is, if you don't like it, go to another place. But they can't because they don't have the option. Having options is the name of the game. Improving yourself constantly so that you open these opportunities for yourself is going to be extremely important. And that's why it always comes back to self-development, because when you work on yourself, you'll notice that your surroundings will be different. Your options will be different. What you can do for a living, who you date, who your friends are going to be different. But it always comes back to yourself. And so with that said, that's everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.